Okay, so that should be just a quick minute. We are live. All right.
All right.
We got
How's it
this.
going, Mikey?
It goes well. It goes
All right.
very well. How are you?
I'm doing fine. What you sipping on over there?
Sipping on? A non-advertisement personal beverage,
All
as
right.
always.
That's the best kind.
It is the best kind. Nice and cold, bubbly, and a lot of hops. So, for those who are going about to watch or going to watch or will watch this later, it has an 8.2 alcohol content. I think it's 75 IBUs. It's sold in most liquor stores, gas stations, and grocery stores. So,
I think we're gonna.
if you
we're
can
gonna
guess
have
in
a
the
contest.
comment, guess,
Yeah.
yes, let's make a contest out of it. If you can guess by the next podcast or the next live streams down in the comments what I'm drinking, then something will come your way. I don't know what the promise is going to be. I might forget it, but just do it in the comments anyway.
That something might be good, or it could be bad, or it could be nothing at all.
Or nothing at all, or neutral. We shall see. Now, as you can notice, our fine audience members, that we are missing a cast member. We are. Our actual engineer who knows what he's doing. He is not here tonight to join us. But I'm going to be the engineer for tonight. I don't know how that's going to go. We shall see. So, I will definitely love to hear your comments. Hopefully, I'd like to see on the live feed. And let's get this started. So, Kevin, why have you summoned us tonight?
Well, there was some interesting news from the California College Republicans.
Oh, okay. So,
Our favorite.
Before we start with the actual story, let's explain to people though who might stumble upon this what the California College Republicans will be or are, what the organization is. Who leads it, and then kind of get into the drama, and then, if there is any, and then kind of, proceed with the story. Just so those like in New York or across the world who may never see this, who hopefully will see this maybe sometime, stumble upon this, a decade later.
Mm-hmm.
Just to know the context, just a little bit.
Okay, so you might have to help me with this a little bit. I'm not the best at describing things. So, California College Republicans, they're a group of chartered, semi-chartered clubs, conservative-leaning college students, presumably Republican-affiliated college students from all over California who aim to do activism up and down the state, get Republicans elected, get the liberal bias on campus exposed, if not overturned,
or removed,
physically removed if necessary. So that's actually how me, Mikey, and Ryan know each other. We were part of the Cal State Fullerton Republicans. And I think, honestly, we had the best chapter. At least within the past 2 years, we had the best chapter.
I think we just have the best chapter as long as we know it. If I can remember how long we've known
we're no longer a chapter, but...
Oh. Well, we'll get in that technicality later.
Yeah. So, there were some leadership changes this past school year, and things we didn't agree with. People who we thought were on our side sort of threw that bond away for personal gain, for personality reasons. And I don't know. Mikey, what do you have to say about that?
What do I have to say? Just like how we got introduced to the club or to the chapter.
Just about the drama.
About the drama. Well, I mean, kind of before we get into that, you said that they're semi-chartered. Now, again, I kind of want to like make this kind of like a prologue where those who are outside of the state of California, who might not know that conservatives or Republicans actually exist, we do, and those that are younger and go to college, actually, there are many of us that are conservatives. You know, kind of just want us to kind of want them to. Sorry, I almost spilled my beer there.
Uh-oh. Your unnamed beer.
My unnamed beer.
To be named later.
To be named later. Hopefully guessed within the live stream or within the comments. But, nevertheless, is to kind of just, I don't know, to kind of like break down the organization. What is CCR, in a sense? If you understand what I mean. At least, because you said, and I want to kind of ask, what do you mean like charter or semi-chartered? So like, is it chartered within its own organization? Is it chartered with the Republican Party? Is it chartered? You know, what is it chartered with?
There's a statewide organization, California College Republicans, and as the Cal State Fullerton Republicans, we were a chartered member of the statewide organization. We were a chartered chapter of the statewide organization.
Okay.
So
is that statewide organization a part of the party, or is it separate from the party?
I believe so. Well, we're at least supported by them. I think we are part of the party.
Okay. Or at least that organization is part of the party. Just
Yeah.
for those who don't understand or have similar organizations within their own state, which is for me is unfamiliar. So I don't know if like Nevada or Connecticut or Illinois has like, let's say like a young Republican club. They might do. I don't know. But in California, it seems like that, or as it explains, as of the moment, we have a young Republicans organization that's attached to the party that does activism for the party, in a sense, to get those in the party elected within the districts that those universities fall under. Would that be an okay explanation?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. All right, so now we got that.
So the drama.
The drama, because the drama is the best part, I think, at least from what I remember, was very little.
Oh, so you want me to continue?
Oh yeah, continue, please.
So as I was saying, there were just some personality differences with leadership. Personally, my experience, I didn't see a reason to I don't know. I didn't really hate the leadership, but I saw the need for change. But there's nothing personal for me. But for a lot of people, it was definitely personal.
All right. So before we go into like, let's say like what's personal. So what was the leadership? What needed to be changed? Why needed to be changed? And what do we have now?
Okay, so when I first joined, there was a CCR party in charge. I forgot what they were called. Before
was it Thrive?
No, before Thrive and Rebuild.
Okay.
The administration before that. So evidently they were corrupt. They were not letting certain chapters have their say. When we had our election, there was a whole kerfuffle over who got to vote. I wasn't allowed to vote, even though I was what do you call it? I was part of the leadership board of my chapter, and I was on the list of members who would be able to vote. Actually, I did vote that year, but most of our club was not able to, and a lot of others from other organizations were not able to. So that's where I started saying, okay, this is a problem with that administration. It was handled very, very suspiciously and just kind of gross. So then we voted in a new, I guess, party or slate. That's the word I'm looking for. A slate. Rebuild CCR. We voted for the chairwoman, Ariana Rollins, who, that name might sound familiar. She's a close friend of Milo Yiannopoulos, as she likes to talk about on, on various channels. And you might see her on Milo's
So you said
social
that
media
there's
occasionally.
there's something before the Thrive rebuild slate.
Yeah.
Were you part of that first, and then let's say you broke up the Thrive and rebuild, or did you come in at Thrive and rebuild?
I came in when Thrive and Rebuild were running for the leadership.
Okay, so
I actually wasn't aware before the election that there was, slates going at each other. I didn't know how the election process worked within the statewide organization.
Okay, so just to clarify, because you said that you came in before the slate before, or at least the governing organization before the Thrive and CCR, but you came in roughly about when I came in, at least when I came to understand it, where you had the Thrive and the CCR slate.
Yeah, Thrive versus Rebuild, and Thrive was basically a continuation of the previous slate.
Okay. And so the previous slate was not Thrive, but Thrive was just a continuation of the
every year there's a new slate. I don't know if there's a rule against having the same name, but I totally forgot what they were called. But Thrive was basically in the continuation of the previous slate.
Okay.
So we want to change, and actually Rebuild was the first challenger to. It was the first year that there was a challenger to the status quo, to the incumbent, and we actually ended up defeating the status quo by voting in for Rebuild.
Yeah, I remember that because I don't know where you said you were allowed to vote or not? No.
I was because.
Oh, you know who wasn't allowed to vote? You know who was not allowed to vote from our club? Because I came in. Because I was supposed to vote and I was denied. And Brian was denied.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was me and Brian. And I think also, did you join us for dinner?
Wait, this was in 2017. You weren't at that one, were you?
2017. Yes, it was.
You were in San Jose.
No, not San Jose. No. After
this is the one. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Okay, you're talking about San Jose. So yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. I apologize.
That's fine. So that's when Thrive and Rebuild were vying for the leadership. So anyway, after we voted in a lot of the Rebuild members who were voting for various leadership spots, safe to say Rebuild won that election, because you didn't vote for the entire slate to be voted in, but individuals from the slate. So I think Rebuild won most of those slates, most of those spots. So that's when the issues started popping up. There were some personality differences. I don't know. Just
so, but to before we get into those differences, wasn't there another election that was called 6 months after?
Oh yes, I totally forgot to mention that. So when we were voting in San Jose, we actually were not able to vote. We didn't vote then. The vote, because there was just so much bureaucracy involved in, this isn't fair, so we need the whole parliamentary procedure was just, it took too long. So they actually kicked us out of the building because we only rented that facility for so long. So we weren't able to vote at all in San Jose. So we had to postpone it, and eventually it got rescheduled to the California Republican Party convention, which was in October, which was 6 months later. And then that's when Rebuild. That's when we voted Rebuild, and that's when Rebuild got
I
it.
remember being there because I was actually on the list as a proxy vote for a member that went to San Jose from our club, and I was denied because of the bureaucracy. I think you were denied as well.
I was denied too. So I was actually, I was able to vote.
It was you, me, and another fellow that was denied. I might have said his name before. I apologize. And I remember getting a lovely and expensive appetizer dinner there in the courtyard. Being bored out of my mind.
Oh yeah, that's right. We went to that little restaurant over there. And you who did you talk to?
What was this? The economic analyst for Fox News and for Fox News is always on CNN and all the MSM. I think it's Steve Moore. I believe the name is.
Stephen Moore, yeah.
Oh, he was drunkish. He was. I'm not going to slander him and say that he was drunk, but he was drinking. And my gosh, I mean, straight shooter, kind of. At least in his belief when it came to certain individuals that we were bringing to our campus. We can discuss later, but he was funny. That reaction actually kind of caught me off guard and made me laugh. I chuckled a bit. So, yeah, actually, to be honest, that convention was more entertaining. The convention, as boring as it was more entertaining than what happened at CCR, in my opinion. As this was a great victory for a slate that, at least at the time, our chapter supported. The overall convention was actually was boring as well, but there were some certain individuals that I believe that were quite entertaining, and that was one of the more entertaining moments of that convention for me, was interacting with Steve Moore there. I believe that's what his name is, but I will have to, I have to reference that.
Sounds right.
Sounds right.
I think it's Stephen Moore.
Stephen Moore? Okay.
Yeah.
So that was fun. So he was an interesting fellow to meet. But continue, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So at the time, at the election, we were planning on bringing Milo Yiannopoulos to our campus, Cal State Fullerton, and Ariana, being close friends with Milo, helped facilitate a lot of that, and the show went on. I guess mostly without a hitch. Wasn't his best performance, but it was done. He got the job done. We filled an 800-seat, auditorium, and we made some good money off of that. Everyone had a good time. It was fun. I forget what exactly went on with the disagreements between the CCR leadership and individual chapter leadership. Do you know anything about that?
I know very little, just because my current position, I would say, for the meantime, in the club is very low on the totem pole. So there's a lot of mouths, or I will say filters, that come down my way when it comes to disagreements. But the observation was from, let's say, those that I heard, was that the current leadership, or the leadership that was elected in October, pretty much has acted the same as the leadership before. Maybe running a different slate, maybe having different, let's say, ideas on the agenda, different principles and values that they wanted to strive for, different members they wanted to court, but overall the principle was kind of the same, at least from what I heard. and that's pretty much what I mean, that's what I got when it came to communication, was that the how may I say that was that the CCR leadership that exists now and existed from October 2017 has acted the same. So, like, similarly to like when a president takes over from another president. So let's say you have a Democratic president that goes to a Republican president, or vice versa, a Republican president to a Democratic president. They end up actually like maybe doing different policies, but using the same tools and expanding the same toolbox as the president before them. That's kind of how I got it. That's kind of how I've interpreted it in a sense. So
Okay.
So that, let's say, rebuild of those on the rebuild slate in 2017 acted just the same as the Thrive slate in 2017, but just have different policies and a different goal in mind.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I will say that Rebuild did sort of a better job of being more transparent. They let the individual chapters and members know that what they were up to, and this is why we're doing things, and this is what we're doing. So I would applaud them for that. I wish I remembered the specific things that were the issues with them. Because I remember I did have issues with the leadership, but I don't know, it's not coming to mind right now. Anyway, so should we fast forward to the next year's CCR?
Sure, why not? If there's nothing, nothing of pertinence or comes to memory, as I know that when it comes to memory, it's not my strongest suit. At least for this live stream. Maybe it'll change the different live stream. I don't know.
Okay, so CCR 2018 was in April, right? April.
I believe so.
Yeah, I think it was April.
It's very fuzzy. I know you drove, but it's fuzzy for me.
No, I didn't drive.
You didn't drive. Who drove?
We got in the Purple Mobile.
We were in the Purple Mobile. That's right. That's right. The Purple Mobile drove. Oh my gosh, that's how fuzzy it is. That's how fuzzy it is for me.
Okay, so at that point, there was already a lot of tension between the leadership and the constituency. So there was a new slate. So 2 new slates, the Rise, CCR, and what was the other one? Do you remember the other one?
No, I don't. Sorry, those who were involved, but I don't remember.
Rise and shoot, I should know this.
Should.
Anyway, so the chairwoman basically got voted in again, with a lot of uproar about that. So it was basically a repeat of the previous administration of Rebuild, and left a lot of people upset. And then we our chapter, Cal State Fullerton, led the charge in dechartering from the statewide organization.
Now, was Cal State Fullerton the first chapter that dechartered?
I think we were.
Okay, because I know, if I remember, there were a couple of chapters that wanted to decharter, but there were some issues. So, do you know what happened there?
Well, I can tell you with another chapter, UC Riverside, they threatened decharter, but they were sort of I want to say threatened, but what's the word? They were bribed by the leadership to remain chartered. I don't know if they're still chartered, actually. I think they eventually dechartered. But they were essentially bribed by the leadership. And then I think a few other chapters followed suit. And then, oh, by the way, at the CCR convention of 2018 in April.
Okay.
Well, actually, let's talk about the Milo event in October of 2017.
Okay.
Our event. At that point, Milo was sort of on his downturn. His popularity and relevance.
I know exactly when his downturn was.
It was after he got fired from Breitbart after that video
why
came
he
out.
got fired from Breitbart?
Yeah, because of some things he said on various podcasts, the Joe Rogan podcast and what was the other one?
The Drunken Peasants.
Drunken Peasants.
Yeah, well, which is no longer a podcast anymore.
Oh, really?
Now, granted, that podcast I used to follow religiously, even being a conservative.
Really?
I follow religiously, and I still follow the remnants and the two other podcasts that have split from there. But I actually watched that podcast live that night.
Oh, really?
When he said those comments. And it was, and to kind of, let's say, side note, was when on the Drunken Podcast, the Drunken Peasants podcast. Right now, this is a drunken podcast, at least on my end. But on the Drunken Peasants podcast, when it came to those comments, the host had really no reaction to those words, like to what he said. In a sense, so he just said it. It was kind of like a joke, and they kind of moved on, in a sense. And then when he went on Joe Rogan, like a couple days later or a week later, he said the same thing, and he made no mind to it. But it was actually who brought it up it was a group that was funded by the Daily Wire.
Really?
Yeah. So it was a group that was funded by Shapiro's Daily Wire that brought up the alarm. And they did, and if I remember correctly, that the references that they put to the podcast was this unknown right-wing podcast. That actually, that's what made the news. But the Drunken Peasants are far from right-wing. As much as I enjoy them, they're far from right-wing. But, I mean, that's completely old news. But I think it was something hilarious. So it's the thing between Shapiro and Yiannopoulos.
I see. I heard it was funded by Evan McMullen. I forgot what his you know who he is? He's I forgot what office he holds, but he's from Utah. I think he's Republican.
I don't see many Democrats coming out of Utah.
Yeah, and he funded that whole framing of Milo.
I thought it was a couple of.
Well, he was at least part of it.
Part of it, but I remember it was an organization that was tied to Shapiro. That did that. Now I know we can get into Milo all we want later, if you want to continue now. But I know we're kind of on a good story when it comes to our event. Because I have a funny story of that.
Okay, go ahead.
But no, continue first.
Okay. So, by the time we invited him, he was already on his downturn. His popularity was declining, but I actually still like Milo, no matter what anyone says. I'm probably the second biggest Milo shill who was in CCR, behind Ari, of course.
Okay, the second.
Behind Ari.
Wow.
Ari. Okay, so at the CCR 2018, Ariana actually brought Milo there. And I know you remember that. I remember him walking into the auditorium totally unannounced, and I was like, it was cool to see him, of course, but I'm like, why is he even here? What kind of move is this that you're inviting him to come speak or just appear while you are running for office? Is it just to show that you have him at your disposal? Or to show that, I don't know. Well, I don't know who to feel more
So wait,
bad
so was
for. Do
he
you feel bad
was he announced at CCR, or was he
He was not
announced?
announced. He
No,
just
no, no, no,
walked.
no. Well, okay. So I thought we were talking about not the when it came to the story, when it came to um, him coming to when we brought him. So we're talking about CCR in 2018 then,
Yes.
just in context. Okay. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, so he walked in unannounced. He eventually was the keynote speaker of the night, which was, I found it a little odd that whole situation. I don't know how you felt about that.
It was a power play. I mean,
It
on the
definitely was
surface,
power.
I mean, it was a power play. We're talking about this neutrally, for or against. It was a power play. It was one of those things that I can bring somebody that can rile up the base. That's usually how it happens. That's usually what it is, and it's what he did. Now, the thing about Milo was I was very surprised, was when he was the keynote speaker for the dinner, that comparatively to all the other speakers of that day, he was the most mellow and the most moderate.
Absolutely. And he even told us, he even referred to the earlier speakers. He said, get your shit together, because that was embarrassing.
It was very embarrassing. And
It wasn't, yeah.
You know
it was just
very well how
autist
embarrassing.
fest.
You know very well how embarrassing it was. And you know
It
very
was.
well my thoughts on it, which
Mhm.
I don't need to describe because that'd be a three-page essay. Because I literally wrote a three-page essay. If those who are watching who will watch, I on Messenger wrote something that was about equivalent to 3 pages about how I felt about that whole event and the people that spoke, except for maybe one person that actually really surprised me. That was not Milo. There's another person who really surprised me. But nevertheless, that was something that kind of blew me off that put me on my heels just a bit. Was Milo being very moderate and very temperate, because you never expect him to, but he was.
Yeah, he actually gave a very good speech. Very profound, but also neutral, and he didn't stick to conservative points, but he just said, just don't be an idiot,
In a sense, because guess what? That's what idiots do. We idiots kind of clump together, in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of these conservative clubs, they attract the internet autism that exists, and it just comes to life at these conventions.
So now, so when it comes to this kind of culture, or this kind of group, well, yeah, let's say culture, population, in a sense, when it comes to conservative clubs and attracting certain elements that cannot communicate ideas properly, or would you think that they can't communicate ideas properly, or is that they just have bad ideas, or what do you think the mentality or the mindset is?
I think for them, it's hard to discern internet culture from real life.
Okay.
They sort of turn their online persona into their actual personality, and if it's impossible to have a normal conversation with them, because it's just, they speak in memes. They speak in various levels of memes, and it's just, it is kind of like a, I don't want to say mental illness, but it's very interesting dynamic between people like that, especially in a convention of people like that.
So would you see like this? They say this dynamic that we've stumbled upon in a sense, or in our case that we had to literally just sit there and bear through. Um, would you say that you find this on, let's say, those that are not Republican or conservative? You find that on the left, or is this a dynamic that is more or less predominantly or monopolized on the right?
Uh, well, especially this kind of dynamic is definitely only on the right.
Okay.
Like the certain talking points that come forth, like the fake white nationalism that comes out. Like if you pretend to be a white nationalist online because it's just like ironic, but then you meet them in real life and it's like that's actually who they are. But you still can't tell if they're being funny or if they're being honest.
So is
So
it because they want to express honesty through humor, or is it that they're just using, or are they just using humor for humor's sake?
that is something that I have a hard time figuring out.
Okay. Well, I would imagine because, and if they say that yourself that is having a hard time figuring out that the majority of people that are having a hard time figuring out because if I remember there was media there at this convention, and if I remember correctly, I remember reading the article that came from that convention. That's pretty much what happened, was that there was no discernment from let's say the humor from the from the honest truth, in a sense. Do you understand what I mean? And so they take the humor and turn it to honesty, or they turn the honesty and they turn it to humor.
Yeah.
Or ridiculousness, or
it was BuzzFeed.
It was.
So they did have a bias to want to point out some sort of actual hatred in us, but that part of it was right. We were ridiculous. We were not bringing our best.
I don't think a lot of people were bringing their best. I didn't bring my best, and I stayed quiet.
Yeah. So
do you find that this is a culture within the, say, CCR and political activism on the right?
Not just CCR, yeah, but college student clubs, conservative-leaning college student clubs are going to attract these kind of people, the ones who throw around memes like they're just everyday conversation. And when you bring a lot of them together, it's some sort of fest. It's a festival of I don't know.
Humor.
What's the word?
A carny.
Degeneracy.
Degeneracy. Ooh. A carnival of degeneracy. All right. A carnival.
Yeah, and it's hard, like, when you bring, like, actual principled conservatives. Not that I am, or I don't think you are either. Yeah, I think you're more of a libertarian, right?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I float between, let's say, libertarian. I don't know. I'm libertarian up in a sense. Okay, no, I'm gonna back that off. I am, let's say, I understand and I fall within the framework of the rights within the framework of this Constitution. Nothing more, nothing less. In a sense, so those would find me a hard line on it. I quite am, but when it comes to all the rights that are granted by it, anything from the First Amendment to the Second Amendment to the 14th Amendment to the 21st Amendment, in a sense, right? The rights that I fall under. Now, I personally don't attribute myself anything to beyond that. No, and as that was brought up, that our rights, let's say, come from natural rights, in a sense. It's an enlightenment kind of process, or an enlightenment type attitude, or enlightenment type theme, where there are a multitude of rights that we human beings naturally own and naturally possess, and that need to be protected. I fall in between of, I'd say, a statist type mind and that mind, where there's limitations to my natural rights just for the function of society, but at the same time, for society to function, I have to have that those have to the rights that are granted to me should be enforced or actually protected, and I will go a step further and say enforced. So, in a sense, so like freedom of speech, everyone talks about freedom of speech. Freedom of speech should be protected. I'm of the opinion that freedom of speech should be enforced. Right? There's a different mindset to it, I think. Maybe this philosophy is flawed, and I think those are going to be pointed out, I think, in the end. But granted, this is kind of not scripted. But I believe that when it comes to the enforcement of freedom of speech, that the state not just has a right to protect your freedom of speech and not hinder your freedom of speech, but the state should enforce your freedom of speech in public areas, in public spaces, not in private domains or private property or private areas of the internet or private areas that are owned by individuals or by corporations. So there are limitations, of course, right? Because of the protection and the protection of private property. So let's forego private property, or forego private, not forego private property, but in the sense, in the general gist of things, the state should enforce your freedom of speech.
Okay.
Or the state should enforce your Second Amendment rights. The state should enforce the right that the Third Amendment, that there should be no, I believe, no quartering by soldiers. So, not just the state will forego quartering soldiers in your homes, but the state will enforce the fact that there should be no quartering in your homes, right? And maybe because those are the rights, so the rights that are granted to us, I believe, should be enforced by the state. As unpopular as they are, or let's say those who are unpopular may express them. So those are my opinions.
Okay. I think I agree with most of that.
Now, I will say, though, people will disagree with me, in a sense, especially when it comes to freedom of speech. Like, Westboro Baptist Church, by all means, if they didn't have any protection under the law, you just want to lock them in their chapel, light it on fire, walk away. You really do. But they have the freedom of speech, and I believe the state should enforce their freedom of speech. But in the sense, also, I think the state should enforce the privacy of those mourning loved ones at cemeteries. And this is the reason why I despise Westboro, is because they protest the funerals of veterans who put their lives on the line every single day, like those many in my family who have in the past, for them to have the right to be stupid. And so I think this philosophy is flawed, in a sense, definitely, because in many ways it's a state enforcement of stupidity. But in a time like this, where we have private organizations and we have that are backed by a public, a public will, a public trust in how private organizations and private individuals act, that deny the right of those who are unpopular to speak, or to protest, or to, to live freely. I don't know. That's what I got so far. But that's just me.
So where do you fall on the political compass test?
On the political compass test, I tend to be very authoritarian and very conservative. Actually, no, not so conservative. I tend to be, yeah, centrist and authoritarian.
Okay.
In a sense. But when it comes to political compass test, the questions are very vague and very open and left to interpretation. So, I don't really trust it. At least how I read the questions.
Yeah, that's true.
So the political compass test as is not very accurate. Not very. At least to my observation. To my observation and to my ability and to my, let's say, interaction with it.
Yeah, I and each time you take it, there's like different websites that ask completely different questions to it. So it also depends who is putting forth that quiz. I wonder if BuzzFeed has one of those. But I fall somewhere libertarian centrist. Maybe even occasionally I'll take it and I'll fall center left, like a moderate center left.
Okay.
I'm sort of like a recovering socialist.
A recovering socialist.
Yeah,
Okay.
I kept it to myself. I wasn't like an activist or anything, but I felt like socialism was the way to go because like it felt more compassionate, I guess. But what I didn't take into account was human psychology.
Okay.
The need for humans to just want more, like our need to be greedy, you know. So I became more open to capitalist markets and like incentivism and it sort of puts the greediness of humans to work for the better.
Okay.
That's how I see it.
Okay, so more or less you're exploiting something that's a negative for a positive.
Yeah, not necessarily negative. I wouldn't say greed is a negative unless you're stealing. But I mean, it's capitalism it's all voluntary exchange, you know.
Okay.
So if you can make money selling whatever you want, then so be it.
I would never. So okay, so if you say you're coming from the far left wing or the semi-far left wing, there are farther left wings in socialism. People know that. I know that. I would say that I was more conservative when I was younger, and I've moved towards the center, in a sense. So it seems like that you went from the left wing and moved, and I went from the very far right wing, or at least let's say the right wing of media talking points, to something different, in a sense. Because when I was younger, I grew up on nothing but Fox News and Bill O'Reilly and Sean Hannity and the ilk like them, in a sense. And I've kind of, I don't know, my conservatism, I would say now is more of a populist conservatism. For some reason, I still consider myself, I'm very nationalistic. I'm very, I'm religious, but I'm very nationalistic. I'm very socially, let's say, conservative. So those would put me in the conservative point. But in the sense, also, I would say in on like an economic or government scale, that I tend to follow more moderate, in a sense, just for the fact that I'm under the opinion when the government promises something, that votes on something, and promises something, that should deliver on it. So maybe I would be more conservative. I would follow maybe in the more conservative circles if the government didn't promise certain things. Like I say, like think of like Social Security or Medicare or other social programs that they voted in statewide and national, and nationwide. to provide the public, and just not end up committing to it, effectively. So, kind of like the VA, in a sense, that the government has provided, hey, for veterans, we have hospitals, we have all these services for you, but they underfund it, and it never works.
Mm-hmm.
And in many cases, many veterans die waiting for services. So I'm on the fact that when the state votes and promises on something, that they should deliver. I don't know. I wouldn't say, I don't know if that's conservative or liberal. In a sense, maybe it's practical for now in the current stream of things. But maybe my conservatism probably starts with fiscal responsibility. Something that we don't have as a nation, don't have statewide, especially in this state, and in many localities. If you understand?
Yeah.
Maybe, may not. I don't know.
I do.
It's hard to articulate at this point. But
yeah, but when I first started getting political, I focused more on the social issues. And I didn't really care much for like the economic side of things. But slowly, I'm getting more open to stuff like that. It's actually what turned me into a quote unquote conservative. I don't even think I'm conservative. I'm not conservative, but it's what helped me see things more conservatively. The economic things. I'm still pretty socially liberal. But I think where I was going with this was...
how about this? Are you socially liberal in the aspect of just being socially liberal, or socially liberal within the context of the rights and liberties that are either granted or not expressed in the Constitution?
Well, when I originally started, it was just to be socially liberal.
Okay.
I didn't care about the Constitution or anything. And I still kind of don't. But I mean, it's an important document, of course. I think it's definitely a good thing that we have it. You don't want to. I don't know where I'm going with this. Anyway, I didn't really become political until really political until this past presidential election, and then moderately so in the 2012 election. But I wouldn't say I'm fully educated on the ins and outs of politics and economics. I'm more of a call it like I see it, and that's how I think more people lead themselves into liberalism. They just see things and then make their judgment without sort of a context of history and economics and the political science of things. But I sort of came out of it as not a liberal anymore, and I think I was one of the lucky ones. Probably because I've opened up to more conservative-leaning platforms and talkers, podcasters, speakers.
Now, is that because I don't really want to make this like they say an interview format, because it's not an interview format at all. But in a sense, is it because are you opening up because you're looking for new ideas? In the sense that the left, or what you see as the left, or the origin in which you've described, denying you the access to those ideas? Or is it that, let's say, that you generally agree with those ideas? So I think those are two separate things. That are you looking for something because you're denied it? So it's like, let's say, a drug being outlawed, and so you just search it out because it's outlawed. Or is it that you actually generally are interested in the ideas?
Well, when you say ideas, do you mean like ideologies or just like individual?
Well, ideologies. Well, let's go. Ideologies to make it simple, but ideas for on an individual base.
Mhm.
To make it
So
more specific.
I try to stray away from ideologies in general. That's how I ended up as like a big brain centrist, so to speak.
Big brain centrist. You
So
were all wrong without explaining anything.
Yeah. So I'm like a quote unquote free thinker. I try to stay away from like belief systems. Not only because I don't fully agree with everything within a belief system, but just because I find the idea of clinging to a belief system to be wrong, to be limiting and
intellectually limiting, morally wrong.
Yeah, so that's why I don't identify as a conservative or a libertarian. I'm just just whatever. I have my own individual thoughts on individual issues.
No, I think that's perfectly acceptable. I mean, in the sense that I would say I would be in your same boat, but for the idea, or at least for what I observed, is that many of those ideologies or those frameworks have more or less disappointed me. In a sense. I mean, that's for me, that's it. Now granted, as in the title, but now granted, others may think differently and may be more a little rigid towards it, but the more or less the disappointment comes from pundits or those who express certain ideologies or ideas or beliefs going up and acting more or less the same as pundits or speakers or prophets or talking heads of the opposite or other platforms and ideologies and ideas. And I find that connection there very disturbing. Right? So it's kind of like when Ben Shapiro, says facts before feelings, but rants on about feelings or how he feels about things. It's like, well, you've said no facts, in a sense. And as I would say, a self-proclaimed conservative, you should speak more facts. I mean, there's nothing inherently wrong about Ben Shapiro or inherently wrong about listening to him or accepting the way that he delivers ideas or the ideas that he professes. But when he more or less, in my way, more accepts, or you have to accept the fact that he talks the same as those that he professes to be against. And maybe it's a moral thing for me. Maybe that's a bias on myself. But I believe that if you're supposed to profess a different viewpoint, that you would say it differently. I don't know. That's just me. That's kind of how I think we fall into the same boat in that, but differently. Maybe on my end a little more simpler.
Okay, so how we got into this discussion was we were talking about CCR and conservative organizations and
yes,
the sort of people that are attracted to such organizations. So you have your internet weirdos, you have your conservative, principled conservatives, you have your sort of free-thinking
dispossessed
folks. Yeah, dispossessed people.
I would fall
yeah.
under the category as being free-thinking and dispossessed.
So you have all these diversity, if you want to call it, of people within conservative organizations themselves. But from an outside point of view, you see the internet weirdos, and you sort of label the whole organization as those kinds of people.
Internet weirdos.
Yeah, so we all get lumped in with them. So you kind of have to purge your if you care about your own perception, how you look to other people, and you care about the organization that you're in. You have to find a way to keep those weirdos in check. To either purge them or keep them in check. If you care.
Well,
If you
I
don't
mean,
care, then
would that be inherently wrong from the talking points of the organization? Right? We're here for free speech. We're here for all ideas and a diversity of ideas.
True. Okay, how about this? We put them to use somehow. That doesn't make them so visible and forefront.
Like Gary Johnson. You know, one camera shot away from drooling over himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
yeah. So
those. Hold on, those in CCR. Nothing against you, but there are many of you that are just one camera shot from drooling over yourselves. I'm going to say this right now. You are autistic. You are disabled. And I am one of you. And in this case, the one-eyed man is, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. I have no depth perception. But we are all drooling over ourselves at this point. Stop.
Mm-hmm. Precisely.
You know, it's just so like going back to 2018 in Santa Barbara, right? For the CCR there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and granted, there were media outlets that say, well, you already said it, BuzzFeed, that was there.
Mm-hmm.
And the majority, there's a significant amount of people, I won't say the majority, but there are plenty of speakers that went up and just demonized them on the platform.
Yeah.
And you look at it, and it's like, okay, yeah, BuzzFeed's retarded. They don't write well. Like they really don't write well. Many of the things is just filler, quizzes and pictures and rumors and just blogs about
It's opinions.
Opinions and mundane and insipid shit about mundane and insipid shit. But when you're on, let's say, the podium and they're recording you, and you're literally going after them, you're pointing them literally out in the audience, right? And granted, you're scoring kudo points in the conservative well. You're scoring kudo points on the resume. You're scoring points, you know, for that next job offer in some senator's office or some office, the office of a candidate running for district attorney, or for governor, or for mayor, you know, somewhere. That's not even say governor or district attorney. Yeah, some like city council spot or some bureaucratic spot. In a sense, it looks good in conservative circles, but in many cases, it doesn't look good for the organization, right? And shit, this is another hard place because there are plenty of media outlets that have lied, they've altered facts, they've distorted reality, or distorted the narrative, or distorted reality to fit a narrative, in a sense, and they should ultimately be called out for it. But I think there are contexts and scenarios in which that you can express yourself eloquently and express yourself with a certain standard that makes yourself look better. It entices people to actually like agree with you. Mm-hmm. And when I don't know, we have individuals that are on the podium acting retarded, and we're acting retarded in a big group, and we fit a stereotype. Yeah, that doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Or we fit the wrong stereotype, in a sense.
I knew that was going to happen too. The fact that it was an open mic session at the convention, and I knew that in a room full of these weirdos that we're talking about, it's only gonna be amplified uh, in that room if you have an open mic. It's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Especially with media there.
Yeah, many of those either drink heavily before or would drink heavily after.
Yeah.
Or do whatever before or do whatever after. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's an open mic with media. The representation is not the best. Now, granted, there was, and I've said it again, I apologize.
I think that's number 4. No, that's fine. That's
is it 4? It's part of the. That's right. It's part.
I think that's 4.
It's part of this whole program that we're throwing out. I did listen to a speech about Israel. That was probably the best. I'm not going to name names on this. What this individual spoke about Israel. Probably the most eloquently I've heard in my entire life. So there are gems. Don't get me wrong. There are gems in formats like this.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but the rest of it was just insipid and garbage.
Mm-hmm.
But this certain person, we were both affiliated. We both know, and I will say it publicly. He made the most eloquent speech, the most enlightening, the most intellectually just honest, and or at least intellectually honest from his perspective, and the most genuine speech about Israel that I've ever heard. And it was actually really good. It was formatted great. It was, the format was good. The words were just excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Its candor was, I don't know, it was brilliant. And I really appreciated that. And that individual knows who he is, and I know who he is, and we know who he is. So I would say thank you for that. I mean, I was very surprised, especially the individual that I'm talking about. I was very surprised that he came out with something like that. In the whole clusterfuck that convention was.
And we could have had a lot more speeches of that caliber if we had not an open mic concept, but a vetted a series of vetted speakers.
Yeah, but
who presented a topic beforehand.
But you know what the open mic is? The open mic is to bring up people that support certain platforms or certain slates to rant on about insipid things, to rile up the base the day before. You know, the thing that happens, and it happens on the convention level, in this convention and other conventions. You just bring people up that don't sound the best, that are offensive, and the offensiveness is, it's nothing that I say like I'm offended by. I'm not. Maybe it's just that stupidity irks me, but you still bring them up because it's usually talking points that people want to hear. You know, it might not be the context of the situation that they want to put forth, right? When you have insipid rabble, I know if insipid, I use insipid a lot, but let's say mundane and intellectually deficient rabble, simultaneously with something where you have a parliamentarian and things have to be rigid and within order and have procedure and protocol, it doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't. So I think maybe when it comes to the overall, for me, the overall observation of the CCR, that convention, is that it was very is very bipolar. It was free thinking and rabble and garbage and, let's say, just free expression to the extreme, while simultaneously having rules and procedures and doctrine that everyone had to follow rigidly. And usually within a system like that, it's exploited by those that know the system well. And that's what I saw.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we should mention to our viewers, on Sunday when we have our regular podcast, we're going to have president of the Cal State Fullerton Republicans, Brooke Paz. She's going to give us her insight onto the CCR madness, and what her club is going to do henceforth to hopefully bring some dignity back to the college Republican movement.
Maybe not.
Hopefully. I said hopefully.
Maybe not. You never know. You never know, but that is for us to discern and decide on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think we should get to what we originally wanted to talk about here, which was back to the Milo thing.
Okay.
So I think it's safe to say within the past few months, or within the past year, but especially within the past few months, that Milo Yiannopoulos is old news. He's been invited to UC Irvine twice, and he's been at our school once. He's been at various other college campuses. He's done a good job, at least 2015, 2016, when he was first starting to do his tour. Did a good job of letting people know that there's conservatives on college campuses. But after the whole thing he said with Breitbart, the thing he said on the podcast and him getting fired in Breitbart, he's not important anymore. He's not relevant. So, and it was sort of a joke between CCR members that, we should bring Milo Yiannopoulos to campus again, because it was just a joke.
A joke?
Yeah, it was just jokingly. Well, at least with the non-leadership members, the ones who were not involved in the statewide leadership. We said, let's just bring Milo, just to be funny, but not seriously. So, as you may have heard, Milo was slated to appear at Politicon in Los Angeles,
I just heard about that. I mean, recently. So, can you describe?
Yeah,
I found
out about that a few days ago as well. So, Politicon, political convention, a lot of top political pundits and discussions and all sorts of stuff happening at these sort of conventions. Last year was in Pasadena. I really wanted to go, but wasn't able to. This year it's going to be in Los Angeles. So Milo was going to be there. He actually wasn't one of the headliners. He was mixed in with the normies.
Okay.
Which I found interesting.
So who were the headliners then?
There was Ben Shapiro, Tucker Carlson, at least of the conservative. Let me pull up there's a poster floating around somewhere. So, some big names. Let's see, Politicon 2018. Here we go. Ben Shapiro, Cenk Ugo, however you say his name, Uger, John Kerry, James Carville.
John
Kerry?
John Kerry. Oh, John Kerry. Oh, I'm excited. They should have ran a cardboard box instead. I would have voted if in 2004, if I was at eligible voting age, I would have voted against a cardboard box against George W. Bush any day. But they ran John Kerry. The man who had a plan, who never described it. Okay, continue. Sorry, I just had to say that. That came to mind about John Kerry.
Okay, so John Kerry, James Carville, Tucker Carlson, Ann Coulter, Henry Winkler. April Ryan, whoever that is. I don't know who that is. Charlie Kirk, Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman?
Dennis Rodman.
Is he sober or drunk? I like drunk Dennis Rodman. Love drunk Dennis Rodman. I don't know about sober, if there is such a thing.
Anna Navarro, Hassan Piker. I hate that guy. Anthony Scaramucci, some guy named Baby Trump, Chris Christie, and then after that, those were the main headliners. And then there's a bunch of names in small print. One of them happened to be Milo.
Okay. So
I think yesterday, Politicon removed him from the lineup due to pressure from, I'm assuming, actually both left and right people were complaining that he was on, in the lineup.
So is it one of those things? Is one of those things on the left? He's not gay enough, and on the right, he's gay.
He's too gay.
Right. Well, gay is too gay on the right, and on the left, he's not gay enough. He's not the right type of gay. So therefore, he should not be able to speak.
Well, the term white nationalist was thrown around by both sides, I think.
He's married to a black man.
I know, but
he gets rammed by a black man.
No one seems to care.
Maybe at least once a week. But remember, this is a gay marriage, so they actually might fuck more than the straight marriage.
Yeah, you're right. So they dropped him from the lineup. So today, the College Republicans of UC Irvine announced that they will be hosting Milo Yiannopoulos at about the same time that he was supposed to be at Politicon, which is in October. So imagine my shock when I heard about that.
I love the close-up. I love the close-up.
My first reaction was just, why? Why are we having Milo again? Or why are they having Milo again? What were your thoughts?
I mean, you can only offend people so much until either they just get tired of it, or yeah, that's about it. I mean, you can be offended so much until you just don't care anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, the idea of just bringing someone to be offensive over and over and over again is just gonna just bring less of a draw. I understand bringing Milo the first time, right? It's this whole, at least at our school, was this whole big deal. It took a year or so to him finally show up. Have half the county's police departments representing the security detail.
Mm-hmm.
For him to show up. But then when you do it over and over again, you just kind of normalize it. Which maybe it's a good thing, right? So if that's what you want to normalize to say, quote unquote, conservative or dissenting ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Just bringing somebody over and over again is a good thing. But for Milo, the idea about Milo is not that he's representing ideas that you want normalized, but you're doing it in a way that offends people for attraction, for marketing, for observation. And when you, something like that, you just can't do over and over and over again. In a sense, it just becomes more mundane, right? You just kind of just get used to it. It's just like watching the news, and just for stories that make you depressed. After a while, it just normalizes, in a sense, and they become more and more outrageous. They become more and more just pervasive, and more detailed and gruesome. But after a while, you just get normalized to it.
Yeah.
Same thing with Milo.
Yeah.
The first time, oh my god, we can't have Milo on our campus. But like the fourth or fifth time, oh, he's coming back again? When was that? 2 weeks ago? Well, okay. You know, like it just goes right over your head.
Yeah. So essentially CCR, or at least, yeah, CCR is becoming like a Milo Yiannopoulos fan club.
Well, is that in the charter, though?
We're becoming... Is it in the charter? It is in the charter, I think.
I think it's the first point in the charter.
Yeah, we're gonna bring more speakers to campus like Milo Yiannopoulos. I think at least something was released from CCR.
Yeah.
That said something like that. And I remember the reaction that I was just, why? Why him again? And now they're officially doing it for real.
We're dragging on the coattails of something that was popular 3 years ago. 4 years ago.
Is that how that's how desperate we are? Well, I think the part of the thinking is Milo's not doing anything. He's not doing anything important. He's not busy. He's not touring.
Well, I mean, in our case, we were the only school in his tour.
That's true.
Everyone else canceled.
Yep.
Like literally everybody else canceled.
Mm-hmm.
Arizona canceled. Florida canceled.
Mm-hmm. We're supposed to be at San Diego State, canceled. I think that same week.
Yeah.
Fresno, was it Fresno? No, it was Bakersfield.
Bakersfield canceled. Yeah, they canceled way before us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think we just have him because we might be his only hope for for him being for him getting any amount of appearances. Success is going to be through the California College Republicans. So we're kind of leaning on each other. CCR is leaning on Milo. Milo's leaning on CCR.
Yeah. Well, he has a pretty, big, popular, YouTube page. I mean, at least his YouTube channel, I don't think is strict down yet. So, it might.
He hasn't posted in a long while.
Really?
Yeah, because he used to have a podcast. He started one in January. But I think after a few months, I don't think he had enough subscribers to keep it going. He hasn't posted in a long time.
Yeah, because at this point, he still has 800-something thousand subscribers on YouTube. Way more than us at this, now. But, so he might be doing something. He might be still going on tour. He might just be writing blogs independently or opinion pieces independently.
Yeah, he has his own media company, I guess. He has his own... he has writers working for him. Milo.
And this is probably the idea. I mean, I know you said this earlier, but it's probably the idea is like, is someone like Milo necessary? So, like, is Milo necessary? In the context, let's say, of CCR, maybe not. But are Milos necessary in the world?
I would say yeah, he definitely is. Someone who can activate young conservatives with humor and some amount of edginess. But we have others like that. There are plenty of people who followed in his footsteps who can take that role. Gavin McInnes is... what I think about Milo is that he got too hot too fast, and now he's just
burnt
No
out.
one cares. Yeah, he's burnt
You
out.
know, when
Well,
Bill
Gav-
Maher 1 week declares you the next Christopher Hitchens, and then a week after says, I brought down Milo Yiannopoulos in 1 week.
Yeah.
No,
That was a terrible interview, by the way, by Milo when he was on Bill Maher's show.
Yeah, I know it was.
He did terribly on that show.
But I'm just saying, this is the one he's like, you're the next Christopher Hitchens, and then 1 week later, I brought down Milo. No, you didn't, Bill. No, you didn't. Yeah, he did bad in that interview. You did too. It doesn't take 1 week to bring down Christopher Hitchens. I've listened to at least, I would say, maybe 20, 30 hours of Christopher Hitchens. And I'll tell you this, it doesn't take a week to bring down Christopher Hitchens. So don't say that one person's the next Christopher Hitchens and then declare the next couple days, or then at least with the next week, that I brought him down. No.
Yeah.
No. Because I remember Bill Maher actually debating Christopher Hitchens about certain policies.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Like the Iraq War.
Yeah.
Both those individuals, Bill Maher was on one end and Christopher Hitchens was way on the other. Oh yes. Oh yes. Yeah. If I listened to plenty of those clips, or watched plenty of those clips and listened to them over and over and over again. But so I mean that's just a whole debacle. I don't think he really recovered from it. And yeah, I would agree with you. He burned too hot, too fast, burned out. I don't know. At least on our end, at least how we view it, not really a big thing, not a really big deal. I personally, if I ran any organization, I wouldn't bring him, just for the fact that it costs way too much on everybody else. And maybe that's the point.
Yeah, that brings an issue to light. That why are we bringing so much, of these resources just so this one guy can speak? And that's something that worth noting. But it's not worth it to bring this guy again, just to bring that issue up.
Yeah. Maybe we're in agreement.
I still like Milo though. I like Milo. I might even go to that event.
Yeah, I've always been meh. If not, I don't really care. I'm apathetic to Milo, as much as I'm apathetic to Ben Shapiro. I'm not really a diehard fan of either. I don't really care. They have their faults that they try to hide, and they express them. And they're expressed nevertheless, and I see it. I observe it in their voices and how they act. And for Milo, Ben Shapiro is very upfront about it in his voice and his tone and the rhetoric that he speaks. Right, yeah, I can sense it. Like there's a lot of hypocrisy. There's a lot of things that he omits. When it comes to Milo, a lot of it is just, it's, platitudes from the pulpit. Everybody wants to listen to. But what really got me about Milo though was everything outside of the pulpit, getting him here. When we had him, like, he ran super late. It was inconvenient.
Yeah.
The things that he promised didn't really do because he ran late and then he had to go. Things like that. Like just the let's say like the outside infrastructure, the outside logistics of getting him there and out was more of a hassle in a sense. And I wish that overall, let's say colleges were more open to more ideas, especially on the right, and especially with conservative speakers. I wish that, and hopefully that happens. And they are a part to blame for the, let's say, the barriers in which those, let's say, dissenting or minority views can step up and speak, freely without harassment or endangerment to themselves or to the audience. But also, I think, in a way, because of that, many of these speakers that, let's say, are on this endangered list or are barred or have to go through more hurdles exploit that. And I see that in Milo.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, and I'm going to say this, as a disclaimer, like, he's never personally treated me bad. He's never said anything mean to me.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had anything, let's say negative personal interaction with the man. I've been in his presence twice.
Mm-hmm.
But just overall, just the staff that he had, I didn't particularly like.
Mm-hmm.
The coordination was not great. His organization, working with the organization that I was a part of, was not the best. And more or less, that's where I have my criticisms. And I think that his organization really exploits that. Because at one point, he was a very hot commodity.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to the fact where you're on your decline and you still act that way, you leave a bad impression.
Mm-hmm.
At least that was at our event. When it came to CCR, yes, he was unannounced. We had no idea he was showing up. But he acted very moderately.
Mm-hmm.
He was very tempered. He was very restrained. And very just forthright in what he thought. And that was something that was, for me, surprising. But, so, I don't know. I'm at the dislike to meh with Milo. I'm at the dislike to meh when it comes to Ben Shapiro. I'm at the meh to Steven Crowder. I don't know. I don't particularly like many of the pundits on the right wing.
Who do you like then?
Who do I like? What's his name? Dennis Miller. I've always liked Dennis Miller. But that's older than many that might watch this. But yeah, I've always liked Dennis Miller. From time to time, I do like Steven Crowder, but again, that's meh. I don't know. Maybe just overall, when it comes to political pundits, just meh. Don't really care. Many of them just still act stupid.
Crowder is good in the bits that he does. He has like certain bits, but him in long form podcasts kind of gets a little, I don't know, boring. Not only boring, but just
stale.
Sort of like stale, same old thing. But I watch like the short videos of him, like the what does he do? The change my mind things.
Yeah.
Or when he confronts people who have threatened violence against him online. That's always interesting to watch.
No, actually, that's probably the best thing I like about Steven Crowder is his change my mind bits. But when it comes to his other sketches, when it comes to his actual show,
yeah,
don't really care because it's the same.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it is really similar to Ben Shapiro. He just sound differently. One sounds more Jewish and shorter. And many of them have their academic and they have their faults, and let's say they omit things, and at least when it comes to Ben Shapiro, he's explicitly said facts over the feelings. Yet, in many cases, it's just his feelings over someone else's feelings. It's not fact. So when it comes to Shapiro, and I hate to rip on Shapiro so much, but he's backed by the Heritage Foundation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes out, the Heritage Foundation accidentally, and just to make this more dramatic, accidentally proves that Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All will save the American citizen more money on health care than the system that we have. I don't know. It's very weird. It's a very weird, tumultuous relationship.
Wait, say that again? How did you... how does that mean that?
The Heritage Foundation. So Ben Shapiro is backed by the Heritage Foundation. Ben Shapiro has been probably one of the foremost critics of Bernie Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
right? But when it comes to the Heritage Foundation, who backs Ben Shapiro, and let's say either backs them or he represents, comes out recently saying that the Bernie Sanders tax plan, the Bernie Sanders Medicare for All plan would actually save the American citizen, didn't say the government, but say the American citizen, the individual, more money on healthcare expenditures per year.
I see.
Right? And then he still goes on stage saying that that's not the case. I don't know. So it's just, I don't know, it's tumultuous. Maybe it's ironic. Maybe it's contradictory. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But that's something that I've heard recently. And because I heard it recently, I think it's something important to express. But because when something like that comes out, I don't know. It just makes it those who that say back you and sponsor you, that do something like that or come out with a statement like that. Maybe they redact it or retract it later. It makes one's platform more shaky than maybe what it is. So, if you look at a long term, like if you want to look at the Affordable Health Care Act that was passed in 2009? Was it in 2009? Or 2010?
I'm not sure.
Affordable Health Care Act. Look that up.
(2010).
2010. That actually was a birthchild of the Heritage Foundation in the 90s. As a counter to, let's say, a public health system. So it's something that, say, conservatives rag on today as being socialism actually came from a conservative think tank. In part. In the 90s. Right? It was that was Hillary Care. Right? That was what Newt Gingrich and Hillary Clinton tried to push forward. It got denied and rejected. So maybe I'm looking at this more long term, and let's say institutional either bias or institutional history and legacy. But for me, that's important. So maybe the pundits change, but the legacy kind of stays the same in a sense. I don't know. What would you think?
All I know about the Heritage Foundation, I just remember hearing vaguely about it. I'm looking at it now.
It's a very conservative thing. It's a
conservative.
thing. It's a neo-conservative think tank.
What I heard was that they were borderline white nationalists, but I've probably heard that from some sort of.
That's something new.
Yeah, but
they're your average neocons.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that anymore.
No, they're the whole white white nationalist marker when it comes to Heritage Foundation. Mm-hmm. That's new. That's not right. That's not correct. The Heritage Foundation it's just your neoconservative think tank. Socially conservative, big expenditure on the Republican platform.
All right. Anything else we want to talk about?
I don't know. We talked about CCR. Kind of got into the drama, kind of not. Went on tangents. I mean, what's on your mind, in a sense? And if those who are still watching, I think there is one or two of you.
Are you able to see the comments? Or at least the YouTube comments?
I do. There's a few of them.
Okay, what are they saying?
Well, the first one is our good friend Michael Garcia, and he says bueno. So, A-okay.
What's up, Michael?
What's up? This is a long time ago. Not my Ryan. Yes, I am not Ryan, Michael Garcia. I am a retarded drinking monkey. And the other individual is Kevin, very esteemed.
Very sober and human and of sound mind.
Of sound mind. I'm of sound mind, just a little impaired. Very impaired, maybe. Well, definitely very impaired when I get to the vodka. But don't mind me, I'm just a monkey. We have a Jocelyn Ramirez that says
Okay.
HMMM.
Okay.
What?
What's up, Jocelyn? How you doing?
I don't know
who that
if
is.
they're if she, he, or how may they describe themselves.
They.
They.
Zer.
Zer is watching, but hi, thank you for joining for a momentary while. Disagree, agree. Love to have you. We have the Dragunov. He is back. It is back. Does Kevin have the big GG? I have a personal friend of mine, Mr. Fiero. He says Uncle Ruby Ridge, but that's an inside joke at work. So
Okay.
if you want to look that up, you can look that up online. Love to have you. He's in Hotlanta at the moment. I don't know if it's hot at this moment, but it's going to be hot tomorrow. Hot and humid and sticky. So I hope
we're reaching across the nation.
Across the nation. I hope he has a wonderful trip there. I will say this on the record. I can't wait until he gets back. Dragunov says gay again. Dragunov also says radical centrist. I think we're radical centrists tonight.
Yeah, we are. Big-brained radical centrists.
Says whack. Dragunov also says small print.
Okay.
Dragunov also says y'all want to add me. Maybe. Well, that was a while ago.
Find something interesting to say, Dragunov, and then we'll invite you on.
Yeah. Let's do that. Why not?
So let's talk about
if they're still listening.
Big GG.
And then he said FR. I don't know what that means.
For real.
For real. So, if he is for real... Oh, he's still here. He's still here. So, you got spicy takes. So, you got Skype? Yeah, let's ask. Does he have Skype?
Did he answer you?
And if you do, so yeah, do you got Skype? Oh, he does not. Well, you gotta have Skype. We're all running on Skype, homie.
Get with the times, Bo Ryan.
I thought you were using Google. No, we're backwards. And remember, we're a retarded monkey. Maybe Google's better. I don't know. Does not discount the fact that I'm a retarded monkey at the moment. No, y'all get with 2018. I think that's directly to you. A good man. Use Discord or use Google.
Okay. We'll have to talk to our
engineer. Sorry, the engineer is away and the monkeys are at play. Except for Kevin. If I called Kevin a monkey, that would be a...
Is that racist? I think that's racist.
That is racist. That is very racist.
I'm a person of color, okay?
The monkeys have taken over the farm. Or the zoo. Maybe the farm and the zoo. We're ambitious monkeys. We're very ambitious monkeys.
Oof.
Use Discord or Google. I mean, we can, maybe later, but not now. Skype's working great for us right now.
Yep.
But is there no one else? Is it just him?
Yeah, he's our #1 fan, I guess. We should send him something. See if he could guess your beer.
Yeah. Let's have him guess the beer. Okay, he says yeah. He says yeah. So what's the beer? Whew.
Well, how did you describe it earlier?
A puff. So he says Puffer Triple IPA. It is not a triple IPA. Not a Sculpin either. I'll give you, you know what? I will give you 3 more chances. So it's not Puffin, it's not Sculpin. But it is an IPA. Yes, it is an IPA. I told you. Yes. It is an IPA. Okay, never mind. Okay, so he wants to play. They or it wants to play 21 questions with us. All right. You know what? Nevertheless, that's not guess this. I actually am curious. My good person. What is the 21 questions? What's your first question? Goose Island. No, it is not Goose Island this time. I drank a 6-pack of Goose Island last night. I decided to switch it up and spoil myself. Kevin, have you ever had Goose Island? The IPA, Urban Wheat?
No.
No?
I am not a fan of IPAs, so...
You are not a fan of IPAs? How dare you,
No.
sir?
It's too bitter for me.
Too bitter? There is no beer too bitter. Does our one and only and committed fan want to ask us another question? This chat is whack. Disable the messenger limiter. There's a message limiter?
Message limiter.
Enable live chat, slow-mo. What is limited in the chat? Swear words. Insults. There are no mods. You're free to speak. As I know it. Per message. Huh.
Oh well.
Time chat, pocket chat, participants. Huh.
That means you need to be careful about what you say. You need to say, be more efficient with your words. Instead of, yeah, I know it's Brian.
Oh, I know it's Brian. We know it's been you, Brian. Only you would come up with Dragonov and say big gay. But don't worry. We love you very much, Brian. I love you very much.
Speak for yourself.
What? No.
No, Brian's cool.
Yeah. No, Brian's great. That's right.
For his height, he's pretty cool.
For his swole size, he's been at the gym lately, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's been getting ripped. Yeah, there we go. See? That's what happens when you love your fan base. Your one and only fan base. Get the fucking heart. That's right. Keep getting that love.
I don't know if you knew this, but Brian and I were supposed to start a podcast.
Really?
Brian and the Small Squad.
The Small Squad?
But we never got it off the ground.
Huh. Yeah. Brian and I were supposed to start a podcast, but I dragged my feet. Now here we are.
Yeah. We were going to talk about small issues.
Small issues. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't even guess. I was in the Schmoll house for a while.
Issues plaguing the small community.
But hey, Brian, if you can get Skype, love to have you on. Love to have you on, Bri.
We can have your message reach all of our one followers, which is you. So it's just gonna circle around back to you. So that's what you can get if you could join our podcast.
How about you, Dave? How about you, Chef Dave? Out in Hotlanta, are you still on? Are you asleep? Love for you to show back up in the chat. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I reached an individual already out in Atlanta. We're going somewhere. Oh, snap. Alright, he's downloading right now. That's right. First time on the for Now Granted live streams, we're having a guest. Is this what happens when we don't have our lead engineer to limit us?
I think, yeah, we're taking over this podcast.
We're taking over. We're taking over tonight.
Let's change the name right now to the Drunken Monkey live stream.
Drunken Monkey live stream. Now Granted live stream, the Drunken Monkey edition. Snap. I think our lead engineer's gonna be pissed. If so, we did the right thing.
Ugh. Lots of dead air.
A lot of dead air. Okay, well,
yeah.
That's a terrible, terrible thing. So, what else is on your mind, Kevin? Because there's nothing on mine.
I'm not sure. I'm getting some sort of allergic reaction to something. I don't know what it is. My nose is killing me.
Oh no, don't say that. Don't give up. Not now. Not when we're going to have a guest on.
No, I'm not going to leave. I'm just saying.
A little bit itchy. Yeah. What am I drinking, though? What am I drinking? Okay, so what am I drinking, though? It starts with an L and ends with Maximus.
I don't know what that is. It's not Lagunas.
What?
Is it? Lagunas?
I won't say until he comes up with a chat. He got it. He got it. He got it. He got it. Yes, it is Lagunitas Maximus, my good man. And I'm down over a 6-pack. Tonight. Got a long day of work tomorrow. So, tonight is a good night. Tonight is a night to get lit. And tomorrow night, or technically Sunday morning when I get off, will be time to get lit. And Sunday to get lit. Monday to get lit. Ah, shit. Let's get lit every day. Do you agree, Kevin? Let's get lit every day.
Maybe just every day that ends in Y.
I agree with that. Okay. I agree with that. Every day that ends with Y. I love it. I love it. So, now, just because of our number one and favorite fan of the podcast, just because he's getting everything together just to join us. And technically, you're the one who called me. Is there a way for you to actually get him on in your square?
Yeah, he'll just have to add me. I'll message him too.
So, don't worry. Don't worry, Mr. Dragunov. We'll have you on here very momentarily. You can speak your mind freely, without repercussions. Maybe, maybe not. Depending with my other co-host. Oh, wow. Oh my. He's going to be you know what? Totally blows my mind. He's the first guest that we're going to have on.
Yeah, we couldn't wait until Sunday.
What are we going to say? I don't know. We could have waited till Sunday to have our guest. So we had to do a guest now. On the live stream. Uncoordinated. Just waiting for the messages. Waiting for the pink slip to come in the mail. Don't worry, wide world. I'll get fired soon enough. Is there anyone else? Is there anyone else there that wants to watch and give us questions? Nobody? Nobody at all? Not my friends, not my enemies. Dissenters, agreeers. Allies or enemies. Allies or assailants. Nobody. Oh. Man, don't tell me this live stream is gonna be as much dead air as the chat now. It's like you want to keep your one and only fan in the chat.
So if we add him to the live stream, that means we'll have 0 people watching.
Nah, watching for now. For now.
Alright, let's talk about something then.
Okay.
Pick something.
What do you want to talk about?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No. What did we mention in the Now Granted chat? We posted a few things.
Well, there was a few things, and I want to save those for the actual episode coming up on Sunday, because that makes a really good theme. Now there was something, because I know we mentioned in the last episode about the California wildfires been going on, and it has been to our attention that was it the governor or someone in high elected office in the state saying that climate change had nothing to do with the fires?
Yeah, it was Jerry Brown.
Jerry Brown, okay.
I know nothing about that, but I think Ryan was the one who mentioned that.
The engineer, he's the one who mentioned it?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I mean, I would imagine that climate change really wouldn't have to do anything with it. I mean, it would just be seasonal. Am I correct in
I don't know. I'm not
an assessment.
Scientist. I don't know. Could be right. Sounds right.
Well, I mean, at least how he explained it. Well, at least how it was explained to me that this last winter has been very mild and very dry, compared to the last winter that was actually very wet and had a lot of rain. And because of that winter, not last winter, but the winter previous, that had a lot of rainfall, it created a lot of new growth that, because of the summer and then the mild winter, dried out and has been more more suspect to, or at least more readily to create dry and readily available brush to burn, in a sense. So it's new growth that's dried out and died for the previous rain season. that has, I mean, done at least has provided a significant amount of fuel to the wildfires here in the state. That's probably up north and here down on south. Now, at least from up north, many of those I would imagine were accidents, but how I know it, or at least from what I've read, that the wildfires, as I stated before, the wildfires down here on south were arson completely.
Mm-hmm.
Caught both of them in the act, or one in the act, and one is highly suspect of it. I don't know about the car fire, the Ferguson fire, or the Mendocino Complex fire. I don't know if those were accidents or if those were also arson. But I wouldn't be surprised if one of those were arson, and many of those were accidents. Accidents do happen, but arson is, let's say, I mean, it's very prevalent here in California. Maybe it's a theme, maybe it's a tradition for crazy people just to come out of the woodwork to just burn down their own woodwork. I don't know. That's just me. Still here, Kevin? Hello? Hello.
Hey.
Hey, you dropped out there that. For a moment.
Yeah.
I was by myself for there.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Uh-oh.
Can you switch to the full setup view so I can see?
The full setup view? Okay, let us do this. Sorry about that, audience. Who, the one and only audience, is here to join us.
Okay.
Soon. So you see everything.
Let me add Mr. Brian.
Oh, hey. Well, all right.
Wait, where is he? Shoot, how do I get there?
Is he on his way?
I have to find a way to add him.
Come on, Brian.
Okay, wait, okay, I got it.
Alright. Let's deport him over here. To the fun zone. Let's deport him to the fun zone.
Okay. Adding. There we go. Calling him.
Is he there?
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Come on, favorite guest. Favorite one and only true viewer.
I think he's there. Do you see him?
I see a DR in your little window there.
You don't see his new screen popped up, BT?
I see DR in your little corner.
DR.
Hey fellas, can y'all hear me?
Oh, we can hear you, homie. We can hear you.
What's up?
How's it going, favorite fan?
It's going all right, man. I'm glad to join.
Hey.
Glad to be a part of this now granted.
Hey. Now, glad to have you. What do you think of the podcast, my good man?
I enjoyed so far, man. But like much things in life, I have a very short attention span, so usually my watching the podcast is mostly me muting it and going and doing other stuff and then catching up every 10 minutes or so. Because that's how my attention works.
Well, if I know you, my good man, you're working at this time, right?
No, I am not. I'm actually at home, chilling.
I am at home.
Like
So
our good
you're-
friend Joel Mishko likes to say, I am at home.
In addition to your attention span being short, your stature
Among other things, yeah.
very short.
You're one to talk though, Kevin.
Hey, I'm at least half an inch taller than you.
Yeah, that's like saying what? I'm a penny richer than the broke dude down the street. It's not something worth bragging about. But anyway.
if he's half an inch, then it's half a penny. Now, correct
Yeah.
me. Is it more effort to be a penny richer than broke man, or a half a penny richer than broke man? Basically, with a half a penny, you have to cut a penny in half. That's a lot of effort.
Quite.
Although
I would say it's not so much effort as to where it's more than a penny's worth of effort. So, enough about semantics. Let's. Have you guys talked about John McCain's updates?
No, we haven't.
Yeah, that's a
So-
big theme you guys haven't touched upon. I'm wondering, when are these guys going to talk about John McCain and the unfortunate situation revolving around that?
Well, the unfortunate situation of him having brain cancer, or just him being a weasel.
We're pretty up to date about his weasel stuff. I'm talking about more about the cancer.
So I think what happened today was he decided to stop taking his medication or something like that. Is that right?
Yeah.
So he might be gone pretty soon. Might be passing away pretty soon.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm conflicted. Really, as senator, he hasn't really done anything for the state of Arizona for his constituency, for those who who elected him. But at the same time, on, let's say, like an interpersonal level, it's always kind of heartbreaking when someone's journey, in a sense, kind of gets to that point where they just decide that, it's over, in a sense.
Mm.
Because there are people very close to me in my past that pretty much at the end of the road, they just decided that no more. Especially when it came to cancer. Living with 10, 15 years, and they just decided that after 15, 10, 15 years, they're just like, no, I don't want to take the medication anymore. I'm done. It takes too much. So, honestly, I can, as an observer, an outside observer, I can relate by that. And they'll die within a couple weeks, a couple months, depending on how pervasive the cancer is. At least in John McCain's case with the cancer, but whatever illness it might be. That's always unfortunate. It's very sad.
Oh no, yeah, definitely. When I said it's a sad situation, I meant, the way of going, because cancer is a very invasive disease. It kills you like in the worst kind of way. It makes you frail, the way other diseases don't. It's like you whittle away.
Yeah.
But moving forward, so like continuing on this conversation, who do you think replaces him, Mikey, in AZ?
In AZ?
Who do you see taking
because-
up that seat?
Well, because right now there's
Wow.
two major candidates, and there's a couple outliers for the other seat. So not John McCain, but the other senator from Arizona, which I don't know his name.
Flake, something like that.
Yeah, Jeff Flake.
Jeff Flake. So he's stepping down, and so it is, I believe, I forgot what her name is, but she was an Air Force pilot, who is
Is
probably
that Martha McSally?
yeah, she's probably gonna win that Flake
Yeah.
seat.
Yeah.
There's another liberal, I think a liberal or a conservative candidate that is was in the education system that's competing for her in the general. I think she'll lose. Joe Arpaio is running, but he'll probably lose, knowing that Maricopa, especially Maricopa County, hates him. So I don't know who's going to take John McCain's seat. It's going to be weird. It's going to be interesting.
What are the odds that a Democrat takes both seats? What kind of curveball would that be?
I think the odds are going to be lower, but I wouldn't be surprised if at least one Democrat, right, will take it. Just knowing that at least Maricopa County, which Phoenix encompasses, is going more purple, or you have a significant amount of the, let's say, the left-leaning population resides there. Also Flagstaff and Tucson, because those are both university towns.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe towns closer to the border near Lukeville maybe will be left or a little more left-leaning. So I would say that I wouldn't be I would say that I would be shocked but not surprised if at least one Democrat took over a Senate seat from Arizona. But I would imagine that it's going to be thoroughly conservative.
I don't know. Election year 2018 is going to be a bigly thing, as Trump likes to say.
Yeah, bigly. So I don't know. I don't know. I think it's still up in the air. There are many that have, and especially some on at least who host this podcast, saying like the blue wave that is predicted not going to happen. Those are others. Hey,
oh, there you are.
Look at him, looking nice and beautiful.
Thanks, man.
Fake.
I didn't click on the camera button, so obviously wasn't gonna show my face.
So, and there are others in let's say in popular media that say the blue wave is going to happen. I don't know. I'm in the camp that I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm really not shocked. I will be shocked, but I will not be surprised of the results.
Mm-hmm. It's a crazy situation, man.
Which ultimately probably I would say that I have said absolutely nothing in the last 15 seconds. That is true.
Well, it's quite unfortunate because I think this was a chance for congressional Republicans to take advantage of having a majority and then having the presidency, and they did not, take advantage.
Well, it seems like that's a theme of Congress, though. I mean,
I would argue not, because the Democrats took advantage when they had the House, the seat, the Senate, and the presidency.
Not really.
Not really.
No, because they mostly squabbled against themselves. So this is a one of those big misconceptions, especially because I mentioned the Affordable Healthcare Act, recently, at least in this live stream, was that the biggest opponents to it, at least the most crucial opponents, and I would say the biggest, but the most crucial opponents to it weren't Republicans, because they were in the minority, right? They could just say no. It was other Democrats. And that's what I see in Congress with the Republicans. It's not really Democrats that are the crucial opposition, it's other Republicans. So, I mean, I think that's a theme of Congress at this point, is that they just don't take advantages of what they have. Right? We have a Republican Senate, we have a Republican House, and we have a Republican presidency, but what have we passed? Nothing. Because the Republicans, the conservatives, are fighting amongst themselves, as the Democrats fought against themselves in 2009, 2010.
Well,
at least how I observe it. I could be wrong.
Well, I think they could have taken advantage to not pass big blockbuster bills, but more smaller, innocuous bills. Shit that would have gone a little bit under the radar, but something that didn't have enough juice in it for the Democrats to, rally in front of stopping it. Is there any small thing that you would have liked to seen?
Well,
have seen?
How about you, Kevin? What would you have seen?
It's like, oh, they should have passed this, or oh, they should have passed that. You know, just not a big blockbuster bill, but think small.
Think small.
Um,
I think Kevin will be able to think small.
Yeah.
that's the only way I can think.
Mm.
I don't know. I'm sort of the guy that's okay with the status quo, and
Okay.
I don't know. I think I'm fine with the way things are, and I don't want. I don't. I'm not necessarily pushing for anything. You know, the big brain centrist I am. I'm just like, I'm.
What about you, Mikey?
Okay, innocuous. This is not innocuous, but this is something I would love somebody to propose. I would love someone to propose that prostitution should be legal.
Oh,
Mhm.
that's actually a good one.
No. But think of it this way: prostitution should be legal, but adultery should be illegal.
Okay.
Well, what's one of the biggest arguments against prostitution? At least from what I've heard, that married men are away from their wives and fuck some dirty hooker.
Mm-hmm.
If adultery is illegal, which I think I have legal basis to declare that, at least by the state, should be illegal, then I think I see nothing wrong with it. At least in a civil case, which will get me in trouble. But if you want to think about it, is when you get married, right? You sign a marriage certificate.
Mm-hmm.
That goes to the county office, which then goes to the state, and the state recognizes your marriage. So therefore, you have a contract with the state, recognized by the nation, that you are together. You get tax benefits, life insurance benefits, you get other public and social benefits for being married, and especially when you have kids. So think of adultery being if you make adultery illegal, because what's the act of adultery? You're violating the contract with the state.
Mm-hmm.
Not just a contract. It's not in now this day and age. It's not a contract between you and your partner. You and your lovely miss, your lovely mister, or your loving Zer.
Zer.
Now we're gonna have the Space Force, so your lovely green alien with 5 tentacles.
Oof. Alien waifus now.
Oh, alien waifus. I'm down for a green alien waifu. That's a contract with the state. You're breaking a contract with the state. What happens with other times you break a contract with the state?
You go to jail.
You taxes. You go to jail. You don't pay your student loans that are protected by the state.
Is it a
You go to
contract
jail.
with the state though?
Like your uncle mentioned, you get Ruby Ridged.
Ruby Ridge. It's not my uncle. It's my boss.
Oh, really? Who? Your boss is Uncle Ruby Ridge?
I'm Uncle Ruby Ridge.
Oh, you are.
Oh,
Oh, okay. I
That's
can
the
see
inside joke. I'm
Yeah.
Uncle Ruby.
that. Oof.
Maybe that should be my new podcast moniker is Uncle Ruby.
Oof.
I'm gonna change all my nicknames to Uncle Ruby, because I like that. I really do. But nevertheless, well, it is because it's a marriage that's validated, protected, and you're given special benefits by the state
But what agreement are you?
to stay together.
Then why is divorce legal?
Because it's a termination of contract, you know.
Yes. So
Every contract should have an out.
Yeah. So legal termination for an out. So all I'm suggesting is that, let's say, like,
Does it say in the marriage contract that you must? This is your agreement to stay together. This is your agreement between
I think
you
it's
and.
implied. So because if it wasn't, then there
Will
wouldn't
that
be
hold
active.
up though?
Well, how about this? If it wasn't implied, then there wouldn't be such an act of cheating. Now would there be? Right? So if someone you're married to goes and gets rammed by some other dude, or some other woman, or some other Zer, or green alien tentacle monster, right? And you get offended, hurt, and heartbroken over it because they cheated on you, and then you divorce them and take them for half their shit. Right? That's legal. Why? Because you violated something. And the only reason why it's legal is because the perception or the at least the conception of that, or at least the origin, the catalyst of that is that because there's a contract. See, if you just had married with no contract, then if you separated, there'd be no problem. But it's the essence of that contract in which you have to go through courts and you have to be judges have to decide and shit has to be separated. The kids have to be taken. The dog has to be put down. Right, that all has to be figured out in court because there's a contract. Mm-hmm. So there has to be there's an implication in which that you have to stay together. Maybe it's not explicit. I will give you that, but it's very, very implied. Civilly.
And you can even get around it. You can be separated but still married and not violate the contract. You would violate the non-explicit part, but you would not violate the explicit part.
Then nobody would get divorced.
Well, I'm just saying that you don't have to. If you break that part of the contract, it's not the same as. Okay, you can be separated, but you can't be divorced and still maintain. You still have the same sort of dynamic between the two partners, but the label on it is just different.
Okay.
Where only one is seen as breaking the contract.
Only one?
Yeah, only the divorce is seen as breaking the contract.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're married but separated,
how do you do your taxes? If you're married and you're conjoined in your taxes, and then you're separated, are you still conjoined in your taxes, or are you individual? See, this is another thing, and this is why the whole benefit thing comes up, and this is one of the reasons why I think marriage should be taken a little more explicitly. Not because it's let's say a religious thing. Let's just keep this civil. If I'm going to make a contract with the state that I'm with somebody and I'm getting tax benefits, which let's say collectively get more back in our taxes for being married, and then say that we're not acting married, and even civilly, so let's say civilly separated, are you still filing taxes individually? Because at least tax-wise, you're separated, or you're divorced, and you're not together. I don't know.
Some big questions right there.
Big questions for small people. Don't worry, I'm part of the small club too.
No, don't worry about it. Kevin is a big brain nibba because he's a radical centrist, so he'll chuck out an answer right now quicker than you can say.
I think you know what the answer might be?
What?
As the veins on the side of his head is pulsing, he'll just say, "You're wrong," and sit down on his own brain, and then float away.
Dang. Just like the memes.
Just like the memes. That's something I can understand.
It's crazy. I think marriage is fine as it is. I don't think it needs any reform or change.
I don't know. I think there's plenty of loopholes. I think personally, at least civilly, it's just full of a bunch of loopholes that leads to someone getting fucked over in court.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it ends up that one person, one or the other, man or woman, can go and get railed by some doctor. Get airtight by a gangbang of coworkers, a gang train of coworkers, and then end up with most of the stuff from the house, the kids and the dogs. Man or woman.
As far as I understand, isn't it just an arms race to see who gets to their good lawyer first? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Whoever wins is the first one who gets to their lawyer. So.
Yeah.
If you ever get married, Kevin, think about that.
I think you'll be fine. I think Kevin will be fine.
Are you proposing to me, Brian?
No.
Oh, officially.
Sorry to break
you know
what?
Right. No. If you guys are gonna propose, I can do the whole 5-minute survey to be ordained, and I'll officiate this wedding online in front of 0 people watching.
Oof. Fuck a marriage, Kevin. Let's get divorced right now. Let's go to court.
You guys perfectly.
Wait,
you guys perfectly.
I want a prenup.
You guys split your screen half and half perfectly.
Yeah.
So you take whatever's on your screen, and you take whatever's on your screen.
Yeah.
I want half of your $400 apartment.
Oof. Oof. I'm not sure about that. Half of my $400 a month apartment. I don't think you're willing to live in Santa Ana, bro.
No,
I think it's not your speed. Yeah.
I'll just rent it out to some other. I'll rent it out to you.
At 600.
Yeah.
Fuck. That's crazy. But yeah, arms race.
You should have taken me, Brian. I could live in Santa Ana.
Bottom line,
I live in Santa Ana.
prostitution. Make it legal.
Make prostitution legal. It already is in Nevada, isn't it?
Yeah,
Las
but
Vegas.
I mean,
In
Las
Vegas.
statewide, or even federally. Make it federally legal. Decriminalize it.
Well, just like prohibition, man. It's not legal, but it's still there. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I wanted to add the added burn. You know, you just you make something legal, decriminalized. Oh, I won't get in trouble. Like, oh no, you're gonna get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be running away from contracts that you signed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Maybe it's well, that's what I think of. That's what I think of marriage. At least statewide, it's a contract with the state or the county at least. They officiate.
How does that work? Does it every county issue a marriage license and then it's recognized federally?
Yep.
Okay. Back when the whole gay marriage thing was going on, would, for example, gay marriage in one state be recognized in another state
Yes.
that had a ban on this marriage? Okay.
Yep. So, like, if let's say, so people would actually go to Massachusetts, get married in Massachusetts,
Mm-hmm.
get their marriage license in Massachusetts, and then move back to the state of their origin.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're technically married, so you can't say that we're not married because it's recognized federally. But when it came to other things like, let's say, life insurance or visitor privileges in hospitals or
Mhm.
other private aspects,
Mm-hmm.
they were denied.
Oh, okay.
And then also on your taxes, because there was the Defense Against Marriage Act of 96, 95, somewhere in the 90s, which actually had a prohibition on gay marriage.
Mm.
So by taxes, you can never conjoin your taxes.
Mm.
You can never bring your taxes together, so you always have to file individually. So the whole ruling on gay marriage by the Supreme Court fixed all that.
Mm. Fixed.
Fixed.
It's crazy.
Well, I mean, they did a better job of fixing that issue than abortion, but I mean, it just made it consistent nationally, at least when it came to the gay marriage issue. Because, well, what are you gonna do? I don't know. It's just the scales aren't really tipped right in that, or or at least the work of that infrastructure is not worked out right, logically or consistently, right? You're married, but you're not married. You're married, but you don't have the benefits of being married, and that was the whole issue, in a sense. And that's probably the argument of why government should have not been in marriage to begin with. That's my stance. But because they wanted to promote the family and promoted kids and the white picket fence and everything else like that, you come to this Hippocratic crossroad of hypocrisy, where it's like, we'll recognize this, but we won't recognize this. You're legally married, but you're not getting any of the rights of being married.
So should the government not subsidize the family?
Not subsidize the family.
Is a tax break a subsidy?
It is. I think it is. I think a tax break is subsidy. Think of it this way. The government has to pay a significant amount of people back money for them to pay their taxes.
Mhm.
That's a subsidy. In that case, I'd rather just have lower taxes and no subsidies so people can afford their taxes. Or a significant amount of people to afford their taxes. So it doesn't make any sense for the government just to give you back money. Because guess what? They take... You know why they give you back money? Because they take too much money out.
Mhm.
And they're like, oh, here, we'll give you some of the money that we took from you. Just lower my rate. I'll have more money in my pocket. Monthly.
Not all at once.
Not all at once. Because guess what? When you get all at once, you spend it all.
That reminds me. I'm gonna have to wait on that FAFSA money because I got a lot on my shopping cart right now. Can we talk about guns in this
Sure.
in this podcast? Sure.
Sure.
All right. I'm trying to get Have you ever heard about the Cali key bolt handle or bolt charging handle? There you go.
Calicky bolt charging handle.
For ARs.
No, I have not.
So basically what it does, it turns your semi-automatic evil AR into a bolt-action rifle, so you can keep all your evil features.
Oh, okay.
And if you want to switch over to semi-automatic, well, you just put in a semi-automatic bolt and a charging handle.
Huh.
Basically how it works, and how I've seen it work in videos, is you take the bolt key out, you unscrew it loose, and then the Cali key charging handle comes with 2 slots where you can put in those bolts back in. And so you get rid of the gas key, and it has this little ping-it at the end that redirects all the gas coming down the gas tube outside.
Okay.
So basically, you take away the power of the gas section, and you have bolt action AR. Got to keep your mag release. Got to keep your evil flash hider.
Well, don't you know they pulled all those regulations, though, just a couple months ago?
What do you mean?
They pulled the regulations. Again, so the laws are still on the books.
Uh-huh.
But the regulations for the Justice Department to act upon, they pulled most of them.
Mm-hmm. So...
Because they're getting sued.
Okay.
So we'll see what the lawsuit what entails, but the regulation that the California DOJ, they pulled them at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
The laws
at this moment.
Yeah. So I mean this was weeks ago. So
okay.
At this moment they're still pulled. So the regulations to enforce the laws that are on the books are non-existent, just because they were contradictory. Because the laws that they put in place are contradictory.
So let's say I get caught outside with a theoretical AR that theoretically hasn't had the bullet button mag release taken off and put in compliance. What happens?
Oh, you probably still get arrested though.
Yeah, there you go.
See, I mean that's the thing is
there you go.
You still probably get arrested, but the regulations that they have are not on the books. So it's nothing. I'm not saying that it's nothing. It's something fantastic or something. Let's say, something that's progressive to the cause of gun rights. They're still going to arrest you because the laws are on the books, but the official DOJ guidelines don't exist because they're getting sued because of those guidelines.
Mm-hmm. So theoretically, can they lock you away for owning such a gun if you're caught with it, as of right now?
As of right now, is it separated? Let's say, quote unquote, if you had one, is it separated?
Mm-hmm.
Then if it's separated by law, you're fine. Because technically, if you had theoretically an AR, and theoretically, let's say the police came to your house, theoretically, by the law, a firearm that is, let's say, semi-automatic that is separated is not considered a firearm. Therefore, if it's not a firearm, it can never be considered an assault weapon or assault firearm because it's not a firearm.
That's crazy. Crazy how that works.
Yes, but also it says in the law too that it has to be readily accessible to be, it has to be in a state which it can be readily assembled, or something like that. So they'll probably use that against anybody theoretically. Even though by law is saying that if it's separated, it's not a firearm, but if it's readily accessible to be put together, then they can still seize it and still put you in prison. So they're still more or less going to put you in prison. And knowing many people, they're too poor not to defend themselves, so they'll go to prison.
Dang.
So the word is fucked. Theoretically fucked.
Theoretically.
All
right. Now let's suppose.
I mean, fucking spread booty cheeks, maple syrup on the, on the bunghole. Kind of fucked.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, either way, they'll put you in jail, and they'll set the bail too high, and then you won't get out. Period. Not until something happens. So, whatever. What I was gonna ask though is, let's say that everything from this point forward is smooth sailing, and Brett Kavanaugh gets appointed to the SC by the end of October. How likely do you think these whole laws get turned over by the end of the next decade? What do you think, Mikey? What are the odds of that happening?
Not likely.
Not good? Not likely?
No, not likely.
Shit, that sucks.
It's probably just going to get worse, actually.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
Alright, let's say RGB hits the hay, doesn't want to wake up. We have another seat opening. What happens then? By the end of the year ago.
In the state legislation or the federal legislation?
In the federal legislation. In the federal judicial system. You have two openings, let's say, by the end of the year.
They're not going to
Kavanaugh filling. What?
I don't think they're going to rule on it.
You don't think it comes up?
No.
Yeah.
No. Even though the rulings, the last couple of rulings from the 9th District Court of Appeals, right? So the last one saying that open carry was constitutional. They're gonna rule on it again. They're gonna make some long format fucking windy turn to not change anything. I don't think that the Supreme Court will accept it. Personally, the Supreme Court has done a good job of not hearing issues on gun rights. Actually, to be honest, that they've done a good job not hearing issues on a whole multitude of issues. I mean, when it came to the Affordable Health Care Act, they just kicked it back to the Congress. There's a couple gun rights when it came to gun rights, they kicked it back to the lower courts. When it comes to abortion, whatever swing that you whatever side that you choose,
take it back to the lower courts.
Or they just rule on a way where it's just vague and vacuous that either limits it or expands it. Usually limits it. Without making the court, let's say, primarily responsible or attracting the ire of how you may call it, attracting the ire of the masses, in a sense. And especially now in this day and age, when it comes to firearms, they're not going to rule on anything. Too controversial.
Well,
because the one thing about the Supreme Court, if we're going to go for the Supreme Court, they do everything they possibly can to protect the image and the reputation of the Supreme Court. Nothing more, nothing else. Right? That's one goal. Primary goal is to interpret the Constitution as the justices see fit. But another thing I believe that weighs on their mind is the integrity and the reputation of the court. And that's a theme throughout their entire history, is the reputation, the integrity, and the value of the Supreme Court within the system. They're not going to jeopardize it. They're not going to jeopardize it. They're not going to jeopardize themselves. So they just kick it back.
Man, that sucks. Hopefully we see something then at least at a legislative level, you know. But who knows, man?
No, I don't see
Hard
it.
to keep your hopes up.
Hopes out. I'll be right back. Give me 2 minutes. Get a little. See if I can't find another personal beverage of mine. So, hold the fort.
Go right ahead, man.
Hold the
Go
fort.
right ahead.
Hold the fort for a guest.
All right.
You know, leave me alone with Brian.
Oh yes, don't worry. We'll officiate this. It's gonna be lovely.
What's going on, Brian?
Nothing much, man.
Pretty
Just
cool. You ready for
snacking.
school?
What's up?
You ready for school?
Fuck no, bro. Done with school. Don't even want to go anymore.
Get on my level. Just drop out.
You already got your undergrad, bro.
Yeah.
Honestly, man, I just want to, like, I quit part of my job already, so I just want to focus and get school over with. You know, I can't afford to fail classes anymore. I got 4 right now, 4 this semester, 3 the next. Graduate, be done. Get a job. Live the life.
Pretty cool. Accounting, right?
Yeah, I'm counting.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you? You been job hunting?
Yeah.
Seeking?
Job seeking. Probably just gonna be a teacher.
That's what we've been telling you.
Yeah, but I wanted to venture around, see what was out there.
Are you settling for being a teacher, or do you want to be a teacher?
I don't hate it, so
Mm.
that's as good as it's gonna get.
Mm.
So
Really, you think so? That's as good as it gets?
yeah, I mean,
Are you ever happy when you substitute?
I have good days. There's some pretty good days where I feel like I'm doing all right. I'm in my rhythm, and I'm teaching these kids.
Teaching these kids the right
You
stuff.
gonna learn today.
Oof.
Oh,
What are we drinking, Mikey?
drinking cold glass of milk because I'm out of personal beverages. I'm out of beer. It's terrible.
Oof. Milk right after beer? Oof, that's the first time I hear of it.
Hey, I'm thirsty. I've been up since 3:45 in the morning.
Oh,
So,
dang.
I don't care.
You got work in the morning, too?
I got work at noon. And I'm
Dang.
working anywhere between 11 and 13 hours. I don't know.
It's around midnight. What time do you guys want to call it? How long is the podcast supposed to run?
This is a live stream, not a podcast. So you can go along as you can.
Mm.
Mm.
Well,
Well,
Well, you got any more as the guest? The first guest to now granted, maybe not on the
the
podcast,
first cast.
but first guest to the live stream.
All right, let's talk about a little subject that's a little bit more complicated. I know you guys noticed that Trump tweeted something about the South Africa land grabs.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
I want to get your guys' your guys' perspective. What's going on there?
What's going on?
Yeah, explain it to me like I'm 5.
If you're 5, okay.
Yeah, as if I were 5.
As you were 5. All right. Well, the simplest way to explain it, I would imagine, is, it's a bunch of individuals that consider themselves descended from the indigenous population of that part of Africa that has resentment against white people for enslaving them, and then once no longer enslaved, denying them access to liberty, land, and property, and finance, and leaving them destitute, broke, and poor. And then only to the end of apartheid at the beginning of the 90s, which they have been able to, let's say, achieve some moderate success in all those categories that I've listed before. but not actually really succeeding. So they decide that the best alternative is to take land away from the few remaining white people in their country. Is it right? No. If you want to look at Zimbabwe, they did the same thing, and the rates of starvation went dramatically skyrocketed because it was only really the white large farm owners that actually were producing food for the country, and when they kicked them off their own land, possessed their property, and moved in black folk, I would say indigenous folk or black folk, to work those farms, they didn't know how to run them, and so they starved. South Africa is seeing rates of starvation and of hunger and food shortages on a year-to-year basis, and suggesting that the removal of white farmers that are experienced generationally of producing large amounts of food in quality crop and repossessing it and then redistributing it to other individuals who don't know how to farm, it's not going to work. Rates of hunger are going to go up. Food shortages are going to be more common. It's already common in South Africa, especially in the ghettos and the slums. I forgot what they actually, what districts, or I forgot what they actually call it in South Africa. But that's going to go up exponentially. But overall, I just don't believe, I'm not one to believe that any dependent on your race, that if you legally own property, should be confiscated from you. And I don't believe that there should be packs or gangs of citizenry or individuals going around murdering people, because I think the rate now, if it was reported correctly, I think it's like 5 farmers a week they're being murdered, or is it a week or a day, or something like that, something ridiculous, where just 5 people or 5 people a day or 5 people a week are just being murdered outright just because they're white. It's not right.
What's interesting is that the same news outlets that are reporting on it are also slamming President Trump for tweeting about it and calling it a
conspiracy,
white nationalist conspiracy, which just blows your mind.
Oh, well, you know what it does is it only emboldens those who, let's say, are white nationalists or white ethnocentrists. Legitimately, it does. And let's say if you are one,
yeah.
It really does, because it's like, well, it's happening. You reported on it. Oh, but it's a conspiracy. Well, then they're just as legitimate as Alex Jones. Think about it. So if they hate Alex Jones because he only peddles conspiracy theories, then they report on something and then call it a conspiracy theory. Just as legitimate as Alex Jones, if not less. At least on that angle of semantics, but on the other angle, that calling it a conspiracy where white people are being murdered for just the fact of being white and owning land or owning property. Yeah, yeah, and then calling that a conspiracy theory, that's literally just gonna just settle down people. No. Not at all. The MSM, or what I've heard in other circles, the legacy media, are just failing at this point. Failing. Should be disbanded, broken up physically. Maybe their shareholders should be in prison. I don't know. It's retarded. What do you think? What do you think, Brian? I was gonna say, what do you think about this?
I don't know. Because whenever I look it up and try to read about it, it always seems like it's a biased or slanted. Oh no, Trump is a fucking liar, and this is obviously not going on. Or South Africa is gonna genocide the whites in the remaining parts of the country. But I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I think South Africa is gonna go to the shithole either way. So.
Unless there's already a shithole. Da, da, Or what's the X-Files theme song again?
Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah.
I'm guessing we're gonna get in trouble for this. Maybe not.
Who's good? How are we gonna get in trouble for this?
I don't know. 7 subscribers. Are you our 7th subscriber?
I'm subscribed.
Yeah. Yes. You are like.
But do you like our videos?
No, I do not.
Uh-oh.
I think I've liked 1 or 2, but not all of them. Like, I don't go and like, ooh, I'm gonna click like. I don't usually click like on YouTube videos.
So, because I'm guessing you're the one propagating the theory that because Kevin has the big gay, therefore his computer has the big gay, and my computer somehow has the big gay. How do you explain that, Bo Ryan?
Just has the big gay, bro.
Just has the big gay?
Big gay.
Is he gonna come alive when I sleep and molest me in the middle of the night?
Gonna spread those cheeks, bro.
Maybe my computer likes maple syrup as much as I do.
Better cover up real well, bro. Cover up real well. Keep that 6-shooter at your side too.
As Kevin in the background in the corner stares.
Yeah.
Vacantly.
Sleep with one eye open, like this. Just to the corner of your eye, look at your computer, make sure it doesn't try anything funny. I got work in the morning, fucker, don't try anything. Oh my god. But anyway, South Africa.
It has the big gay.
Has the big gay, yeah. Funny, just like an interesting little tidbit. I read, I don't know, remember exactly what source. It might have been NYT or WSJ, but a couple years ago I was reading an article, and it said like the average African acre produces the same amount of crops as they did in Roman times. I think it was something like a half ton of grain per acre.
Yeah.
And like in the US they produce like 11 tons per acre. So goes to show how very little agricultural majors there are in Africa.
Well, and then they want to murder them and repossess their land and give them to other people who don't know how to farm.
Well, not in South Africa, just in Africa on average.
Well, a lot of the land is not even fertile.
Or
a lot of desert and
jungle.
It's not desert, it's savanna.
Well, you have the
like
desert.
sub-Saharan.
You have the savanna, but then you also have the giant, massive desert up north, and then you have the jungles, the south and the central. The central part of Africa.
If Brazil is to be believed, jungle makes for excellent farmland so long as you bulldoze all of it.
And cause a massive ecological disaster in the process.
Hey, man.
Just so they can grow soy so vegans and vegetarians can eat. Without
Not
feeling
soy,
guilty.
man. Beef.
Beef.
100% actual beef. That's what Brazilians are doing.
Argentina does that. Argentina's major export is beef as well.
Just steamrolling all that nice Amazon for
but most of the Amazon
miles of cattle.
No, most of the Amazon being steamrolled is not for beef. It's for soy and corn.
Really? It's for soy?
Yeah, soybeans and corn. Soybeans, corn, and other cash crops. So mostly just cash crops, but a significant amount of it is soy. So vegetarians and vegans can eat here in the United States in the first world without feeling guilty.
Soylent. What is the major use of soy? Is it actually human consumption?
I think so.
I would have thought like some other soybean product, but I'm surprised.
Because grown men can grow titties.
Shit. I consume zero soy, but I still got man tits, so.
For now.
For now. Ooh, for now, yeah.
Right, you're working at it.
Hitting that crunch, doing those ass to grass squats.
Ass to grass squats. Yeah. Get that squatter booty.
Bring it down, bring it back up. You been hitting the gym, Kevin?
I work out at home.
What?
I work out at home.
Oh, you work out at home. Okay.
Yeah, for free.
Oof.
Gotta save that money.
You got a pull-up bar and everything?
I got a row machine.
Oof. Just
I do some like push-ups and stuff.
Alright. You look at P90X videos for free?
Bootleg P90X video.
Oh my gosh, bro. I remember how fucking huge of a thing that was in high school. Oh, bro, you gotta do P90X so you can get shredded. Like, all the fucking kids that, out of wrestling, actually, were doing P90X.
Yeah, to lose weight.
Yeah, they had to lose weight. Oh, bro, coach told me I need to get my cut. I need to lose 20 pounds by next week. I'm gonna eat this apple and then do P90X at home for 3 hours and then go to sleep. And not drink water. It's crazy, man.
I remember those. I remember those days. I remember the days of not drinking water, not eating, and running.
Just to make that weight cut.
Just to make the weight cut. Yeah, yeah. I remember one time I didn't eat for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Had maybe 2 bottles of water and one celery stick. In 3 days.
And then you were exercising on top of it.
Yep. I was running before practice. I was running in the morning. I was running before practice. I was going to practice, then running after practice.
Like, by the 3rd day, man, how'd you have the energy to even get up in the morning?
I didn't. I actually, that 3rd day was a Friday. Yeah, the Friday before we went to Santa Ynez. And I remember calling, I weighed myself at home. I was still 1.5 pounds over. And I'm like, Coach, I can't make it. So I called the coach. I'm like, Coach, it's like, I just can't make it. Like, I've been doing all these things, I just can't get low. That, you know, I can't make weight. And he understood. He's like, all right, we'll just put you at 145. So, that's fine. So we take the, I think it was like 3 or 4 hour bus ride to Santa Ynez, which is north of Santa Barbara, or north of Malibu. Malibu is Santa Barbara. I forgot. We left it like
somewhere around the general area.
Somewhere around the coast, that northern coastal area, at least northern to us here in SoCal. And then we weighed in. So we got there. It was like 4 or 5 hours. We got there. We literally got off the bus. They rushed us to weigh in because they're the last team, or one of the last teams to weigh in. And I weighed, and before that night, we went out to pho, my dad, and I went out to pho, and I had like 2 bowls of pork and rice and egg roll, everything. I was hungry. Like, I just ate everything. Had a whole bunch of soda and stuff before I went to bed. And then we went on the bus and did everything else, and I weighed in there. I'm 142.5. I'm 0.5 pound off. I thought I was 1.5 pounds off, and so I just binged, thinking that I was just gonna go to 145. I was less than 142 pounds.
Dang.
So I missed 0.5 pound. So I worked out all that not to make weight. I binged, and then I still didn't make weight, but I made weight only 0.5 pound. It's like,
how close do you have to be to your class, your weight class?
you have to be at for a weight class. So if I remember correctly, weight classes are 105, 115, 119, 1.
Yeah, but how close does your weight have to be to match that?
At that weight or below.
Exactly, like
exactly.
0.0.
0.0.
Fuck.
Oh.
With your clothes on, like with your.
We just wear just boxers or shorts.
Dang.
There's some guys trying to really make weight, going up, holding their nutsack, ass cheeks still exposed, getting on the scale. Because, boxers are a couple of ounces that you can need to shed.
Damn, this is crazy, man. Much respect to wrestlers, bro.
Yeah, I like eating too much.
Oh, yeah.
I like
definitely.
Cheeseburgers and Taco Bell and...
Oof. Say no more, man.
Oh.
Today, bro, you live there in Tustin. Have you ever been what's it called? I got the bag right here. It's called Bronx Sandwich Company, right in front of the brewery, Tustin Brewery.
No, I have not actually.
Oh my god, bro.
Is it amazing?
Go there tomorrow. Have the Philly cheesesteak, dude. It'll fucking. You'll cry when you have it.
I'll cry. I'll cry
Yeah.
before I go to work.
Yeah, you'll cry before work. And $4 pints too, by the way.
There?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, but it's whatever beer, Shock Top. They have the Golden Road IPA there though, or Gold Coast or West Coast IPA. I forget, but it's a small batch brewery, so I think it's $4.50 for a pint. Pint and a sandwich before work. Consider it, man.
That's not too bad. That's not too bad. For fun.
Considering that I spent like $30 last time we were at the brewery. No bueno.
No bueno. Yeah, I drank a lot that night. That's a lot. I've been limiting my times out. I got some expenditures coming up that, every dollar counts.
Same here, man. I basically don't even go out on Friday nights anymore. Well, Saturday nights I do go out, but I don't spend that much. But yeah, life is expensive. Doing stuff here in SoCal is expensive, man.
Expensive, yeah.
Shit. Fuck. Well, it's 12:30, fellas. How long you want to keep this up?
I mean, I don't know. What does my other co-host think? I think
I'm getting pretty tired.
Tired. Well, right then. I think.
Unless you have something interesting to say.
You know what?
Talk about.
I'm sobering up, and I'm going to bed here pretty soon. So.
Get ready.
I think we're ready. So I'm just going to say thanks for everyone who joined. Glad that we got our first guest on the live stream.
My pleasure, fellas.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Dragunov, or AKA
Dragunova Vintovka. I plan on joining you guys more often, so.
Yeah, I hope so. And because the engineer's away, the monkeys come out and play. So.
Will.
So, I'm gonna end this right now. I'm just gonna wish everybody a good night or a good morning, wherever you may be. If you stumble across this, I hope you enjoyed. Conspiracies may be a brew. As drama we talked about earlier today might get us in trouble. Maybe, maybe not. I don't care. I'll probably not see any of it. Anyone who's associated with me, Kevin, or maybe our favorite fanatical guest. But that's okay. That's quite okay. I've been Mikey, a.k.a. Uncle Ruby.
Kevin, a.k.a. Kevin.
Brian, a.k.a.
Dragunova. All right. Everyone have a good night. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.
Yeah.
Yep.